So it says that astronauts recorded this thing in space and nobody can believe it. Yay! Welcome on in if you're brand new. Welcome back if you're an OG. We're gonna get right into it. Like the video if you enjoyed. Dislike if you don't like it, but roll it.
Talking about UFOs might feel like old news to some, but what about stories from those who have been up there, closer to the stars than we can imagine, like astronauts and pilots? We're going to take a look at the 15 most eye-opening UFO sightings these space travelers have reported. Get ready, because this is a trip that goes beyond...
Oh man, you're gonna have Miami Mall in it as well. Come on, man, that was not on, like, that wasn't like outside of planet Earth though. Come on,
beyond
bro.
the clouds. 15. Gordon Cooper sighting UFO. Gordon Cooper was an American astronaut, famous for being the last person to fly solo into space.
Holy solo?
His story adds a fascinating twist to the usual stories we hear about unidentified flying objects or UFOs.
Real quick, you know that was coming. I gotta do it. How many of you believe that we went to space? Or I should say on moon. How many of you believe that we never been to moon? I want to know where you guys at. My mom never believes it. I believe that in the very beginning we didn't and it was fake. But later on, I think we did. Obviously, I can say I think. Obviously, I'm going to say I think because I wasn't there, so I don't know, right? Maybe we did, maybe we don't. Nobody knows, right? But it's a big conspiracy. I want to know where you guys at with it. Like, you believe it or not?
UFOs. On his last trip around Earth alone in a space vehicle called Mercury, Cooper saw something amazing. A glowing green thing moving super fast toward him. But what makes his experience stand out? Cooper didn't just catch a quick glimpse of this. He saw it on his space vehicle's scanner and told the space station on Earth right away.
On scanner?
Interestingly, reporters were told they couldn't ask Gordon about this strange sighting.
Of course.
This secrecy makes his story seem even more believable. Cooper was always open to the idea of life from other planets. He even said he saw flying saucers that moved in ways he couldn't explain when he was flying planes in Germany, long before his space trip. Cooper didn't just believe in aliens quietly. He was one of the few space explorers who openly talked about what he saw in the sky.
Yeah.
In an interview that revealed a lot, he mentioned being told to keep quiet about these sightings, hinting at a big secret about UFOs. His stories go beyond what he saw himself. He claimed that American systems that track objects in the sky spot UFOs nearly every day, but this
was from Canada, 1991.
Information is kept from the public to avoid causing panic. Gordon Cooper's stories aren't just about one incident. They give us a peek into a world full of secrets, cover-ups, and maybe a reality filled with life from other planets that are just waiting to be recognized.
That orange UFO or shape or that oval-shaped UFO with the orange color was looking insane. But it's one of those things, right? Like, I actually heard this in the past that the pilots were told not to talk about it, and you would hear these stories that pilots got fired just for bringing this up. They are told to shut up, and now they're like, okay, if you see UFOs, you need to report it to mommy and daddy. When I say mommy and daddy, what I mean by that is you need to report to us. You need to report it to the government because we are doing a study. So before it was like, hey, mass panic. Now it's like, okay, whatever. I mean, nobody cares. Nobody really cares. How many times we hear about UFOs? And now officially we're hearing about UFOs, but it's not necessarily making... It's making progress, but it's not making the type of progress that you and I want to see is like disclosure, right? Like, we want to know the truth. But even when they come out and tell us whether they exist or not, I don't think anybody's gonna really believe whatever they say 110%. I mean, Pentagon not long ago came out and they just said that, yeah, bro, like, we're alone in the universe, like, aliens don't exist. Yeah, they came out. I made a video on it and everybody was calling bull squash on that one. So whatever they say, the opposite will be believed. But here's the thing though, if one day they come out and they say that, yeah, aliens are real, we're not alone, motherfucker, then are you gonna believe that? Nah, bro, the opposite is real then, or are you gonna believe what you currently believe? Because the way I see it is that if they come out tomorrow and they say like aliens are real, I'm like, yeah, I know that already, like, I believe it, but then it's gonna be like, why are they talking about it, right? Like, you gotta know their motive. Obviously you don't know their motive, but you're gonna be like, what is their motive? So you're gonna be like, okay, so they say that they exist, but there's gotta be some more that they're hiding right now. So it's like, we're at a point where you cannot trust the government, man.
14. White and McDivitt's encounter with UFOs. In June 1965, something pretty wild happened during the Gemini 1V space mission. Major James McDivitt was up there, orbiting Earth near Hawaii, when he saw something that looked totally out of place. Imagine being way up above the planet, everything's silent around you, and then you see a white tube-shaped object with a bit poking out. This wasn't just some random piece of space junk. It had a specific shape, and McDivitt tried to take pictures of it while his fellow astronaut, Ed White, was catching some Z's. This left...
Yeah, I would rather catch Z's than go near and be like, okay, can a brother perhaps pet you? Like, one day, yeah, I surely want to have like a pet alien, like, what's going on, good boy? That's a good boy, that's a good boy. I surely want to have an alien pet, but obviously in space, that's a different setting, bro. You don't go near that UFO in space and be like, okay, is there, honey, I'm home, or like, hey, is there like a chihuahua here? Alien chihuahua? I mean, I don't know, like, alien chihuahua, it might not bark, guys. It might just literally, quite literally, bite your ass. So
left McDivitt alone with his encounter, with no one else to back up what he saw. What McDivitt caught on camera wasn't your everyday space find. He even had to steer the spacecraft a bit to avoid what he thought might end up being a too close encounter. It shows how seriously he took what he saw. But then, as if it came from nowhere, the object just disappeared.
I'm not sure if you guys saw that, like the thing that was floating above Earth. Yeah, do not rewind. Don't rewind. Don't rewind. Some people said that it was debris, perhaps. Because I did make a video on it, and some of you guys were like, yeah, it's that part is debris. It looks odd, but perhaps. I don't know, but don't rewind. Don't rewind.
Disappeared, making everyone wonder even more about it. Then there's the Condon Report, a big study trying to get to the bottom of UFO stories. Even this report had to admit something was head-scratching about McDivitt's sighting. It highlighted how McDivitt saw something that didn't match up with any known man-made object out there based on what NORAD, the space tracking folks, had on record. Years down the line, McDivitt looked back at what happened with a pretty level head. He said even though he couldn't figure out what the object was, he didn't rush to call it a UFO report or make a big deal out of it.
Okay.
This calm approach is a bit of a contrast to all the buzz and wild guesses it sparked among people fascinated by UFOs and those who are more skeptical. What's clear is that McDivitt's encounter remains a standout tale.
Yeah, this one.
What's clear
this one is considered to be like the Black Knight satellite, right? Have you ever heard of that? It's like, we heard that this satellite, if that's true, right? This is what this says, so you gotta take it as a rumor, or not necessarily a rumor, but like more of like, you don't want to believe it 100%, but not also don't dismiss it. But they say, when I say they, I mean like actual government, right? Like they say NASA, right? They say that like this has been there for thousands and thousands of years. And we do not know. It's not ours. It's not ours. And they say it's like they have gave it a name of Black Knight satellite. We think it's a satellite from somewhere else that is actually spying on us, and nobody knows where it came from. Nobody's doing anything about it. They're not shooting it down. I guess you don't want to shoot it down, right? Because you do not know. But also, like, you don't want to leave it up there, right? Like, so yeah, it's probably like maybe in another, or maybe in another universe, in an alternate reality. Maybe it's like China just collecting data on all of us here on Earth. Maybe it's that.
McDivitt's encounter remains a standout tale among astronauts' stories about unexplained things they've come across. 13. Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin landing on the moon.
This one. You guys, before we get to the main event, real quick, I want to say, if you want to help support the channel, consider becoming a member by clicking the join button next to the subscribe button. Helps out a ton. We're trying to get to 10 members. That's the goal on the channel. All right, let's get back to the content now, boo-boo. Do you believe in the moon landing? Let's see.
In July 1969, a big event in space history happened when Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins went on the first trip to the moon. Riding in their spaceship Columbia, they were aiming for the moon, but also making a big mark in history. Yet, during this amazing space journey, a short talk with the team back on Earth in Houston, Texas, sparked a bunch of stories about UFOs and conspiracy theories that people are still talking about. On the third,
there are a lot of conspiracies about this thing, man. People, first of all, don't believe that happened. Some believe it happened. Some believe that. I personally. Now listen, I wasn't there. I don't know, right? I'll just simply acknowledge that. I'll just let you know. I don't know. Maybe we did. Maybe we don't. But I think in the beginning we did not, or not. I believe that we did. But the videos that we saw were fake. That's what I personally believe in. That we did go on the moon, but the videos were actually filmed on a Hollywood set, right? There's so many conspiracies, and again, like, I'm not claiming to know 100%, like, I don't know, like, what's true and what's not. And a lot of conspiracies that they apparently saw some lights in the space, right, in the sky, or not necessarily sky, you know, space, right? They saw UFOs, and there's a whole lot of bull squash about that, too. What do you believe in this one?
Third day of their mission, there was this moment when the Apollo crew checked in with Houston about the location of a part of their rocket, the SIVB stage, which they had let go of earlier. Armstrong asked, "Do you have any idea where the SIVB is with respect to us?" And the folks back in Houston replied, giving them the distance. This might seem like just regular space mission stuff, but it ended up making a lot of people wonder and guess about what else might have been out there with them.
And the craziest thing here is that when they came back, if you want to believe that or not, when they came back to Earth from their moon mission, right, from their moon landing, you look at their faces, and this argument has been brought up by a lot of people. I'm not the first one to bring it up, but you probably heard of it as well, that when they came back to Earth, their faces were, because, hey, holy shit, you were the first guy to land on the moon. You should be excited. You should be like feeling like, yeah, I did that. America, baby. You know, but they were so like pale, so dried out, so like, maybe, okay, I can understand being like fatigued and exhausted. Okay, that part I can understand, but like their faces were looking completely off, and there were conspiracies at the time that they saw something on the moon that is just like, hey, like, and then there were conspiracies that there still are, that the bases, there are alien bases on the dark side of the moon. Ever heard of that, right? There's a whole lot of conspiracies about that. Nobody knows whether it's true or not. I mean, there have been a couple of images that apparently came forward where you see like artificial structures like towers, and then you also hear the opposite point where NASA tried to paintbrush it, and just evened out the surface. For example, like you see this part, right? They would brush it out, and then it would look like this surface. They would clear this out. So there are a whole lot of talk about that as well. Nobody knows what's true and what's not true anymore. I mean, I guess conspiracies are meant to be like that.
I have no doubt that extraterrestrials could very well have populated or made structures on the far side of the moon.
The recording of this chat and the words exchanged turned into a gold mine for those who love digging into space stories and the idea of other life out there. A simple question about the rocket part.
And this is one of the famous sightings as well, where you see the shadow on the moon as well.
Turned into something much bigger in people's minds, making them think it might have been about a UFO encounter. 12. Over Montgomery. Story time from the UFO files that has had experts and fans talking for ages. This one is special because it happened before the whole fascination with UFOs started. It all started in the early morning of July 24th, 1948, and this event would lay the groundwork for many more stories like it. So, there you are, flying in an Eastern Airlines plane over Montgomery, Alabama, and you're up at about 5,000 feet. The lead pilot, Clarence Childs, notices a dull red light ahead and above them. He nudges his co-pilot, John Whitted, and jokes about it being a new type of military jet.
I love fighter jets, man. I love fighter jets a lot.
But what came at them next was not any jet they knew. In just moments, This thing that wasn't like any aircraft they'd seen before zoomed past their plane, going so fast it left them in awe. It then shot up into the sky, leaving a trail of flames before it disappeared into the clouds. They said it looked like a long cigar, with windows and 2 levels, which doesn't sound like any plane or natural object, like a meteor. Not only did the 2 pilots see this, but a passenger, C.L. McKelvey, also caught a glimpse of this strange light zooming by his window. Even though it happened quickly, the pilots were sure they watched it for 10 to 15 seconds, making their story even more believable.
But how are you supposed to sit inside that? Like, it's so thin. It's like thinner than a toothpick, bruh. Like, how? How are you supposed to sit inside? It's like, you know, I can understand like this, but then you gotta squeeze it like that, bro. You gotta squeeze it like that, bro. Like, how? I don't get it.
Some people have tried to say what they saw was just a meteor. But that doesn't hold up when you think about the details the pilots gave, like how it seemed to have a structure and moved in ways a shooting star just doesn't.
Somebody's Tylenol floating, maybe, perhaps. So yeah, maybe they need like water or something, and then like, yeah, get their Tylenol or something. Yeah, probably.
11. The Gemini and Apollo missions. Taking a stroll through some of the most jaw-dropping episodes in space history, let's zero in on the Gemini and Apollo missions.
And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light.
Back in December 1965, during a 14-day trip on Gemini 7, astronauts James Lovell and Frank Borman stumbled upon something that wasn't supposed to be there. Borman called in an unidentified object floating.
Yeah, hopefully that thing didn't hurt his balls, bro. Like, holy crap, like, bro, like that. It looked like it hit him right in his balls, bro. Like,
in space, clearly not just another piece of space junk, and not their own Titan booster rocket, as confirmed by the team back at Cape Kennedy. The story gets even more interesting when, on December 4th, 1965, Lovell managed to snap pictures of 2 objects shaped a bit like mushrooms.
damn.
These photos, taken from a distance, seem to show some glow from underneath, like from a propulsion system. This sparked a big debate. Some were sure these were signs of extraterrestrial tech, while others thought it might just be light bouncing off something, or even doubted the photos were real.
And you know the craziest thing here is that I'm sure you have heard of it, that eventually they're gonna do space travel. Right now I believe it's possible, but it's like it's gonna cost like crazy money. I believe like billions. Only not billions, but it's gonna be, I believe, somewhere in the hundreds and hundreds of thousands. I don't think it's billions, but I believe that it's only for the elite club. You gotta be a billionaire, I think, to be able to do something like that. But eventually, right? Like, what if, or what about when it becomes like a thing? You know, just like how you take a plane ticket. It's so normal, right? You can take a plane ticket, fly anywhere you want to. You can do that now, right? But eventually, I think it's gonna come down to this as well, where you can actually go to space whenever you want. And if they do that, then what? Are people that are gonna take these flights and go in space, are they really gonna see what's out there? Or are they not? If they do see, well, we're gonna have videos. And if they don't see, we're still gonna have videos, because you see, people are gonna fake those videos. So we're gonna have that, then we're still gonna have this problem, real or fake. But I guess, like, if you are able to afford a ticket to go to space in the future, when they make it reasonable and you go, what then? And yeah, like, are they really gonna try and hide it? But space is fake, bro. Space is fake. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. I don't know.
Jump to November 1966 during the Gemini 3 mission with Lovell and Edwin Aldrin, and the mystery deepens. They reported seeing 2 UFOs just a half-mile away from their spacecraft, observing and taking photos meticulously, adding more to the ongoing puzzle of what's really out there. Then there's a lighter moment during the Apollo 8 mission in December 1968 with Borman, Lovell, and William A. Anders. As they came around from the dark side of the moon, Lovell's message broadcasted to everyone on Christmas Day saying, "Please be informed there is a Santa Claus," offered a mix of humor and mystery.
Bruh.
While it seemed like a fun comment for the kids watching, some wondered if it was a secret message, hinting at something more.
Yeah.
On that
yeah,
same
yeah.
mission, Borman and Lovell reported another sighting, and there were even
Holy
talks
crap.
about hearing an unidentified language over NASA's radio frequencies. 10.
Maybe it's possible. Now, obviously it is possible, but maybe the reason they're not like making commercial space flights right now because they don't want people to see that crap. Maybe that's it. Or maybe, yeah, it is really hard and it is really gonna be costly, so that's why they're not doing it. I wonder, man. And we're likely gonna do a part 2 of this video, otherwise it's gonna be like 1 hour long, guys. Click on this video on the screen. This is the last episode that we've done. There was an alien that was caught, a creature looking like an alien caught in the forest. I'm not sure if you were able to catch that video. Check it out, guys. And on the left, we got a Project Bluebeam video as well. Yeah! I'm not sure if you guys saw that. Check it out and I'll see you right there.